the true story behind the Amityville Horror. There's something about a horror story that claws its way into your mind and refuses to let go. But when that story is true, when the shadows on the wall were once real, and the screams echoed through an actual house, it becomes something far more terrifying. This is the story of the Amityville House, a place where reality and nightmare blurred, and where the line between the living and the dead dissolved into something unspeakable. It began in the autumn of 1974, in a quiet suburban neighborhood in Amityville, New York. The DeFeo family, 7 souls, under one roof, lived in a sprawling colonial house on Ocean Avenue. But behind the picturesque facade, darkness festered. Ronald DeFeo, sir, a man with a temper as volatile as a storm, ruled his household with an iron fist. His son, Ronald Jr., known as Butch, bore the brunt of his father's rage. By the time Butch reached adulthood, he was a fractured man, a cocktail of drugs, alcohol, and simmering violence. Then came the night of November 13, 1974. A night so still, so silent that even the stars seemed to hold their breath. In the early hours, Butch DeFeo picked up a rifle and moved through the house like a ghost. Room by room, he executed his family as they slept. His mother, father, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters, none were spared. The eerie part: there was no struggle. The bodies were found face down, as if they had been arranged that way. And though the rifle had no silencer, not a single neighbor reported hearing gunshots. Only the family dog barked, a mournful howl that echoed into the void. Butch's alibi crumbled faster than a house of cards. He claimed a mafia hitman had forced him to kill his family, but under pressure, he confessed. "Once I started, I just couldn't stop," he said. "It went so fast." He spoke of voices, whispers that urged him to pull the trigger. But was it madness or something far more sinister? Just over a year later, the house found new occupants, George and Kathy Lutz. They were drawn to the property despite its grim history. The colonial charm, the 6 bedrooms, the boathouse on the river, it was their dream home. Or so they thought. From the moment they moved in, the house seemed to awaken. George, once a vibrant businessman, became a shadow of himself. He woke every night at 3:15 a.m., the exact time of the DeFeo murders, drenched in sweat, his heart pounding like a drum. Kathy, too, began to change. Her face would age decades in moments, her features twisting into something unrecognizable. Their daughter, Missy, spoke of an imaginary friend named Jody, a pig with glowing red eyes that only she could see. But the house had more secrets. In the basement, the Lutzes discovered a hidden room, not on any blueprint. The walls were painted blood red, and the air smelled of decay. It was a place where the shadows seemed to move on their own, where the temperature dropped so low your breath turned to frost. Their dog, a fearless German shepherd, refused to enter, whimpering and backing away as if the room itself were alive. One night, George heard music, a haunting melody drifting up from the living room. When he went to investigate, he found the furniture rearranged, the rug rolled up as if for a dance. But the room was empty. The music stopped, leaving only silence and the faint scent of sulfur. The Lutzes called for help. Priests came, but the house seemed to reject them. One priest heard a voice, a guttural growl telling him to get out. He fell ill shortly after, his body racked with fever. Another claimed to see shadowy figures lurking in the corners of the room, their eyes glowing like embers. On January 14, 1976, after just 28 days, the Lutzes fled. They left behind everything: clothes, furniture, even their children's toys. In a 2005 interview, George Lutz said, "We didn't plan to leave forever. But the house, it didn't want us to stay." The Lutzes story became the basis for Jay Anson's The Amityville Horror, a book that captivated and terrified millions. But there were details Anson left out, details too chilling to print. For instance, neighbors reported seeing strange lights in the house long after the Lutzes left. Lights that flickered and danced, as if the house were alive. And then there were the photographs. A family who lived there in the 1980s claimed that every picture they took inside the house had a faint, ghostly figure in the background, a figure that hadn't been there when the photo was taken. The house still stands today, its address changed to distance it from its past. But those who've lived there since speak of cold spots, unexplained noises, and a feeling of being watched. In 2010, a family claimed their young son began sleepwalking, always ending up in the basement, staring at the red-painted room. When asked what he was doing, he simply said, "Jody wants to play." Whether you believe in ghosts or not, the Amityville house is a reminder that some places are never truly empty. That some doors, once opened, can never be closed. And that sometimes, the past doesn't stay buried, it waits, patient and hungry, for the next family to cross the threshold. So the next time you find yourself drawn to a house with a story, remember, not all dreams are meant to come true. Some are nightmares in disguise.